Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Race 8 of the Special 4 Cup from Laguna, Seca. Before we have a look at how qualifying went and get on to the race, let's have a look at the current championship standings. And after 7 races, Steve F1 leads the way on 124 points, 2 ahead of SGP in second place. Demon R sits in third on 90 points with Tyler in fourth on 76. Got a little bit of a gap then to Jason in 5th place on 68 points, and he's 8 ahead of SRI who's in 6th. 10-point gap then to Dave the Harp in 7th place, and a 9-point gap down to Twilight in 8th. Formula Gary and Mitch are both tied 9th place on 39 points, and they're 5 ahead of Rich Blues in 11th. Conrad and Hay are tied in 12th on 28 points, and they're just ahead of Jimmy on 14th actually, Fluffy in 15th, and Bonsall in 16th. I will say apologies for the quality of my microphone today. I'm trying a different headset, and unfortunately it's not worked out too well. Right, let's take a look at the results of qualifying, and let's see who's on pole position. And yes, Steve F1 does it again, but this time he's joined by Jason on the front row, so it's all VW front row and all VW row 2 as well, as SGP lines up alongside Tyler. On row 3 we've got Conrad in P5, just next to SRI in P6. On row 4 we've got Mitch lining up alongside Twilight, while in P9 we've got Demon R starts alongside Hay in P10. P11 we see Jimmy, he starts next to Fluffy in 12th, and then on row 7 we've got Formula Gary and Rich Blues and all Subaru line up there. On row 8 we've got Bonsall, and he will be the last of the drivers to start this race. Okay, time to head over to Laguna Seca for all of the action and the commentary team. And joining me on commentary this week, it's not Rich, it's Connor. How are you, Connor?
Yeah, I'm good to be back in the commentary box, Dave. I'm looking forward to see what this race brings us.
I'm looking forward to dipping my toes in the sand. And as I dip my toes, Steve F1 once again, boring as ever, sitting on pole position. Jason joins me on the front row this week as the lights go out and away they go. And here comes SRI weaving his way like he's in a maze, and off he goes into the lead.
Yeah, if anybody wasn't moving out the way, he was pushing them out the way there to go into the first corner, and looks like he's going to have a lead.
He is, and I tell you what, Jimmy and Gary have made a lot of places there as well, but Steve F1, he's done quite well to hold on to second place as Mitch squeezes Jimmy out to keep hold of third, or does he?
Yeah, Steve F1, he seems to always manage to keep the position as a VW. I mean, you've got Jason and SGP dropping down the order there in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Steve F1 has definitely found something with the starts, as Mitch is now coming under a lot of pressure, and there is SGP now behind Gary. I think Gary started about 14th or 13th, so it just goes to show how many places he's made up in SGP and Jason and Tyler. I mean, Jason started second, he's 8th.
Yeah, just looking at, SRI's start as well. If SRI, he's had a few bad races this season, but he looked really good in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you can keep this going, he's got a decent chance here as Conrad having a look of the inside of Jimmy into the corkscrew. Tricky corner for the Toyota. Every other car will probably just eat it up as if it's nothing. But I say that, I'm sure that looks like the wrapper of a biscuit on the side of Conrad's car.
Yeah, definitely some caramel on the side of Conrad's car. He's got some more Brandon going on there.
That's what it is. I used to love them. Steve F1 all over the back of SRI. So interestingly, SRI hasn't been able to bolt away at the moment. But having said that, I wonder if SRI is going to be doing something a little bit different here, because in recent races he's been burning too much fuel. And considering he's got Steve F1 right up his rear bumper, I'm thinking he may be just looking after his fuel a little bit. But for the championship, Connor, I don't know if you know, but there's only like 2 points, I think it is, between SGP and Steve F1 going into this race, with Steve F1 having the lead. So this could be crucial at the moment.
Yeah, the next round after this last round is Spa, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, another track where the VWs will be strong, and I expect that fight between Steve will go right down to the last lap.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking at SGP coming under a bit of pressure from Tyler. Jason's got ahead of the both of these. Formula Gary still sitting in ninth, just come round the corners. Once again, Steve F1 all over the back of SRI, but SRI seems to have him covered off.
Yeah, SRI's just doing what he needs to do, getting the good exit off the corners as they both side by side through the corkscrew. Steve F1's sneaking down the inside the second part as they go down them stories, and they're going to go through this left-hander. Still side by side, but it's going to be SRI that keeps the position.
I've got to say, it's absolutely brilliant driving from the pair of them there. That's one of the advantages, or a little wiggly for SRI, but it's one of the advantages of just giving people that little bit of room. You can have a brilliant battle. As now Mitch has closed in on this. This is starting to liven up on the second lap.
Yeah, just a little flash of the lights from Mitch there to say I'm coming through. Conrad not far behind, as well as Jimmy and the two VWs of Jason and SGP. Aren't actually that far behind, so they could capitalise on a fighting in front. As Mitch gets a little wiggle on the brakes there, and he's going to look round the outside.
Yeah, you know what he's looking like? I think Steve F1 went for defensive for Mitch and ended up in an attempted overtake on SRI, and I think the defence kind of caught Mitch off guard. Or, you know what it might have been, if he's braked with his wheels over the white line, it gets very, very twitchy down into turn one.
Yeah, there's a lot of marvels on the outside there, isn't there, Dave, off these cars throwing them off, as we got Jason going to look down the inside of Jimmy into this left-hander. There's the brake, hard on the brakes there. Got Tyler nearly running at the back of Jimmy as SJP looks down the inside as well, as they're going to go side by side through this blind corner. We've got Steve F1 again looking through there.
Yeah, he's heading up to the corkscrew. Steve F1's definitely got the better run. Just to let you know, Jason is still behind Jimmy, so Jimmy's held on to the position. Steve F1, though, does take the lead of the race into the corkscrew. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, let's see if he's going to struggle going down the hill, because this is where SRI managed to hold on to the lead last time. And yeah, look, he's really closing in on the back of it.
Yeah, they want to be careful, because if they fight too much... Oh, as SGP runs off the circuit there.
Yeah, you know what, I think... Oh, Jimmy! Watch out, mate! Yeah, I think at the same time as Steve F1 taking the lead of the race, I think Jason managed to slip past Jimmy, and that put Jimmy under a bit of pressure now from Tyler. SGP's fallen into the clutches of Demon R, and then we've got Formula Gary, Twilight and Fluffy all battling. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Subaru there of Gary come flying past these two here.
Yeah, just Gary just running on the outside there. He's got Fluffy trying to sneak a move there. Gary just cuts the nose off him and gets a really good exit off that corner, as the Subaru is well known for.
Does. Jimmy's a little bit out of position here though going into this corner. He's going to be compromised on the exit. There you go. He is compromised because he's gone a little too wide. I think SGP will be making that move. No, Jimmy's still ahead, and here comes Demon R trying to make the move on SGP, but that's not going to work because SGP's got the slipstream.
Yeah, SJP hasn't found himself in this position too many times, as Conrad's moving really slow there. He lagged out there, or was that just another steering wheel switch off?
Well, you know what, I'm sure my assistant will let us know soon enough, but that's Jason up to 4th place. I mean, Jason must be kicking himself at the minute. He started alongside Steve F1, but he's had to overtake so far 4 cars to get back up to 4th at the moment. But let's see what he can do. And my assistant is telling me it is a technical issue for Conrad. Hopefully he can keep going though, as Jimmy has opened up a gap on SGP.
Yeah, Jimmy's just doing the job at the minute. As we saw, Jimmy's normally has a great start of the race, but then after the pit stops he seems to languish in the field and gets stuck in elsewhere. But as now we've got Demon R looking to make SGP defend in the last corner.
Yeah, that he is, and Conrad's definitely in control of his vehicle again. He's pushing hard. Tyler's got past him, but he's definitely pushing hard. And in the background, I think Demon R was having a look at getting SGP out of position, but it's resulted in Twilight actually getting up alongside Demon R. But we're still looking at Tyler as he's trying to put some pressure on Jason. But he's going for it. Oh, he's gone quick in. It could compromise his exit. But you know what? I think Jason, you just have to take that one at the moment.
That was a great opportunistic manoeuvre there from Tyler.
Oh, Jason's got
Conrad's
as well.
Just gonna just run out of a corner there, but he's gonna look possibly at making Jason defend on the inside, maybe get a cutback.
He's having a look. You can see in the background there's still a battle going on there, but Conrad can't get past Jason at the moment. We'll see if Jason's going to struggle up there. Hill as Twilight's got a really good run on the back of Demon R. may even get the slipstream off SGP if he's able to. Yeah, kind of like Demonar's. Oh no, Demonar's gone squeezing through past SGP. That could be a little bit tricky. So now having a look at Rich taking an interesting new line. He's making a move past Twilight as well. Oh, and it looks like Fluffy's takedown. Rich, watch out! Oh!
Yeah, I don't know how Demonar didn't get wiped out there. That was really, really lucky there, as Demonar just sort of watched the Jamaican Subaru go through there.
Yeah, I think his Demonar's now checking his underwear. SGP is all over the back of him once again. Conrad all over the back of Jason. This is good at the moment because I think Jason's in with a chance of winning this race because Steve F1 and SRI are not that far up the road. And then we've got Jimmy ahead of Demonar and SGP. SGP having a look up the inside. SGP has definitely not had the best starts of the race, that's for certain. Maybe, I mean, there were a few pre-race issues with the lobby and things like that. Maybe that's something that has taken its toll, but he's trying to get back into this race now. Just want to mention, Connor, fuel and tyres around here. I don't think tyres are going to be too much of an issue. Fuel, I think most cars could do a one-stop, but some may do a two-stop if they feel they want to get out of the pack and get some free air.
Yeah, I think if people do one stop, if they, you know, some people have misfueled these cars often this season and they've realised that they not quite have enough in the cars to get to the end and they've had to pit again on it, you know, not meaning to do a two-stop, but that's just the way it is. People are learning, and as we get to the punchy end of the season, people will start learning the cars, and I think we'll see some better strategies as Conrad goes through the corkscrew now on the back of Jason.
Yeah, Jason's still holding on to that 5th place at the moment, but definitely coming under pressure. And interestingly, I think Jimmy is slowly starting to close in on this pair. Tyler, since he got past Jason, has absolutely buggered off down the road. Tyler showing to be very quick here as Jason got a little bit twitchy, and as Subaru, I think that was Jimmy dipping a wheel on the, I was going to say grass, but there is definitely no grass around this place.
Yeah, I think for me personally, Dave, I don't know about you, but I think Tyler's been one of the standout drivers for me this season in that car. Hasn't really been up there. He's missed a couple of races, you know, but I think he's been one of the standout drivers personally.
I'd agree with you as SGP having a look at the inside of Jimmy. I don't think he was really going to go for that, but Jimmy had a bit of an error on the way into the corner. Jimmy's again going to be compromised into turn 2, and SGP will get a nice switchback position on him in towards turn 3. But that Subaru, we know, is quick on acceleration. Can Jimmy hold on to the place? Yes, he can. That's got to be really bugging SGP at the moment because he's seeing his championship rival sitting 7 places ahead of him and on points. That's massive if it stays as it is at the moment. I was going to mention as well, Tyler, yeah, I mentioned about Tyler being a standout driver. He definitely is. He's had his first win in the DGT, and I think if he'd have been able to make all of the races, I think he'd have been up there fighting for the championship. At the moment though, he's fighting for 3rd place right behind Mitch.
Yeah, just quickly touching on Jimmy there, Dave. I think if you look at the 2 drivers that's behind him, you know, DGT legends in their own right, he's doing really well to keep them behind him. Obviously, that car's helping him a bit, but he's not making too many mistakes. He has dipped a couple of wheels off the circuit, but he's actually gapped them a little bit now.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right there. So, yeah, Jimmy doing extremely well at the moment. And I do think that his tactic a couple of championships ago of just basically keeping out of everybody's way, running in lean, learning the cars, or Tyler going for the move up the inside of Mitch into turn 1. He's going to be hard on the brakes. He did this to Jason, but he was a little bit more aggressive earlier. I think he's got that move done as we're now looking at Rich making a move on Demonar. I mean, we talked about Jimmy doing well keeping these guys behind him, but Jimmy's just done a lovely move there that's absolutely stitched up Demonar, and Demonar's lost another place to Twilight and another place to Hay.
Yeah, obviously Rich is, you know, we last time we seen him, he was backwards into the corkscrew, but he's doing really well, and that car is looking a bit worse for wear now, Dave.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I think you could definitely say it's been beaten up a bit. You know, talking about beaten up, right? I was beaten up in an elevator last week, right? There was a really busty woman in there, and I was staring at her boobs, and she said, "Would you press 1, please?"
I thought when you were saying beaten up, I thought it was going to be an egg joke or something in there.
No, No, it's a big boobs joke.
Oh.
So, in the background, Hay alongside Fluffy at the moment. Rich, though, got Twilight right behind him, trying to close in on the back of SGP. Fluffy makes the move on Hay. Tyler has managed to stay ahead of Mitch. And looking at the track map, Steve F1 has got quite a bit of a gap now to SRI as we're, 12 minutes into this race. I think if anybody's going to be to stop him, we could see them pitting any time about now. There we go, Demon R into the pits. Rich making an aggressive move as well on SGP. Okay, maybe he feels a little too aggressive as he backs out of it and lets SGP back through.
Yeah, I just think that was a racing incident. Two into one didn't quite go there as SGP was on the way turning in. He couldn't avoid the car. I don't know what was going on there with SGP, but he just as Hay comes back past him now and just sort of says, "What was that about, mate?"
Well, it's possible that SGP, if he was off track at the final corner with a little contact with Rich, he may have had very dirty tyres. And I mean, we mentioned about the dirty part of the track down into one. If you've got dirty tyres and you get on the dirty part, it's a double whammy. Tyler, he is absolutely flying.
Yeah, I've just seen on the back of that car, the Mercedes-inspired livery party mode engaged, and he is definitely getting the hammer down now.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, the thing is, Steve F1.
So no one can touch this.
Yeah, Steve F1's lap times, though. I mean, 1:33s consistently for the last 5, 1:33.6s for the last 4 laps in a row. That's what, I've got to say, that's probably the big difference between Steve F1 now compared to a few championships ago. Consistency. It's one of those things, that's how you win races, that's how you win championships, is consistency. Also by having the best car. What was you saying about Tyler's Mercedes livery?
Just yeah, party mode engaged. Tyler, he's chasing down SRI. Just want to quickly touch, Dave, on Hay. We're going to see a younger Hay hopefully in the maybe he's in the last race if we have a reserve driver, as he is, Daddy Hay. His son, Ricky, looking to be our reserve driver for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that he is, and I do believe he is going to have a place on the grid as we are looking at Hay closing in on the back of he was closing in on the back of Twilight. Tyler, though, closing in on the back of SRI. Want to mention as well, we'll get on to Ricky in a moment, want to mention as well that SGP has pitted, so he pitted a lap after Demon R, so it looks like they're both going to be 2-stopping, so they're trying to use as much of the boost and clear track now to try and get themselves past the pack, but it's going to come at the cost of another pit stop later on. I don't think there's any way that someone's going to pit after 13-14 minutes and get to the end. That's not happening. Tyler, though, he's really pushing on the back of SRI at the moment. This is absolutely brilliant. SRI, he's going to do everything he can to hold on to that place. I mean, you mentioned that Tyler's been the standout driver. I think if I was going to pick another one, it'd have to be Ray, because what Ray has done in this championship, yes, the car's been an assist to him, but you have to keep it on the tarmac, and that's exactly what he's been doing.
Yeah, but another thing with Ray as well, Jimmy's had that car, Rich has had that car.
Yep.
They're not doing the same as what Rich has and what Ray has. Sorry.
Yep.
And he's moving forward, and hopefully in the last race he can get I think he could get a podium in the last race, if I'm being honest.
I'd like to see him take a win if he could, but I don't know if it's going to happen. It'd be interesting. Twilight's managed to get past Hay, who's fighting his way past Fluffy, and Hay going a little late on the brakes. Twilight gives him the room, but he's going to be compromised. Yeah, pinched at the second apex. Twilight's got the exit, but he's in a Toyota, hunted by 2 Alphas. Fluffy, though, looking up the inside of Hay, that'll help out Twilight, and that is Fluffy through. Hay's just gone to the dirty bit of the track there, and that's one of the things about this place. You get onto the dirty side of the track, and it is absolutely bloody awful.
Yeah, you can just see the darker lines through the middle of the circuit where you should try and stick to, but obviously if you're going for an overtake or you're getting overtaken, it's hard to get into the corner, and then you suffer for the next couple of corners because your tyres are dirty. As we see, SRI still in second place and doing well.
Oh, he is. He's just gone a little bit deep, though, into the corkscrew. That may compromise him on the exit. Mitch is still there. Conrad actually closing in on Mitch at the moment. And then we've got Jimmy sitting in 6th place. Where's Jason then? I'm wondering if Jason's pitted. You know, he must have done. He must have pitted early. And then we've got Hay behind Fluffy and Tyler. I mean, SRI is going defensive, and rightly so. He doesn't want to just let Tyler have the position, make it difficult for him to get the power down. Because that's the thing, in the slow corners, that's where the VW is going to struggle. It's not until it gets up to about 4th gear that it starts to bring in its power.
Yeah, just SRI placing the car right where he needs to, and Tyler can't seem to find a way past as SRI is going to get a good exit off this corner. Tyler just tries to sneak the nose in. It just isn't an opportunity to overtake there, Dave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But that's what I'm on about with SRI. Yes, he may have the help of the car, but he's positioning the car in the right places at the right times. Jason, who I'm sure must have pitted, is now behind Hay, and he's quite a way ahead of Demon R and SGP as he's making the move past Hay. So I'm wondering if Jason must be on a 2-stop strategy as well. And to be fair, if you're on a 2-stop strategy, you may benefit from not filling up the tank at the first stop and filling it more later, but it's always that risk of under-fueling and not getting to the end. Tyler, can he do anything about SRI into the corkscrew on this occasion? I think he's going to give it a go, but he can't make it.
Yeah, just touching on Jason there as well. I think he'll gain a little bit, you know, during this first bit as the guys battle on, but he has a bit of the boost, fresher if he has collected tyres. He might be a bit heavier, but he will be gaining, and he's not that far behind of where he was, so I think he could be jumping up to the top 4 as we see SRI just placing the car nicely again in that last corner. He wants a good drive off here and stop that VW getting a good toe on him.
I think Tyler got a better exit this time than he did last time, though, and this may actually tempt us Twilight's into the pits, not piss. He's into the pits. I was going to say, he might tempt SRI to not defend, but he's actually defended early. Tyler's gone, okay, I'll take the racing line to try and get that apex on the second corner. Couldn't quite do it. Well, it's still turn 1, but I've got to say, this is a brilliant battle. Really is. Oh, SRI just clunked a bit of sausage, but he'll survive. We did see SGP a moment ago as well. We know that he's pitted. He's behind Demon R, but there's a bit of a gap between the two of them. So they're currently sitting 7th and 8th at the moment, but as we know, got another pit stop to go, as we're now getting to that stage of the race, Connor, where if anyone's going to want stop, they can pit now and do it.
Yeah, there's a few drivers still out there who haven't pitted yet. These top 5 definitely haven't pitted yet, so we'll see who's going to commit first, as Tyler just looking again, and SRI's just doing enough. He's just keeping him at arm's length, nothing too uncomfortable as he goes through the corkscrew there.
Yeah, and there is Demon R not that far behind Jason, so yeah, Jason must have pitted, and SGP not that far behind Demon R, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the guys' pit stops as to whether these guys can recover their race. Demon R is not, well, he'll be looking to recover that. It's so easy to spin it when you do that. Okay, Tyler into the pits, SRI into the pits, and SRI's got loads of fuel remaining. He's going to have a much faster pit stop. Mitch into the pits as well, Connor into the pits. I was going to say, if you were Tyler at that point, if SRI doesn't pit, you get the undercut. If you're SRI, you've got to pit, because if you don't, he's pitting behind you and undercutting you.
Yeah, Dave, just have a look at them times from Steve F1 there. 33.6s for, you know, majority. 33.7 as well, just on the last couple of laps. So I think we'll be seeing him in the pits this lap.
Yeah, I think you could be absolutely right there, and it's a long time stationary in the pits here as well, as we were looking at Mitch there. But yeah, I mean, Steve F1's lap times around here have been absolutely on point, as Bunsell is all over the back of Fluffy and Jimmy right behind them. I've no idea what strategy these two are going to be on. Oh, Bunsell was on a going off the track strategy then, as here comes Tyler out of the pits. So kind of see how long it's taken for Tyler and Connor to get in and out of the pits. SRI, he's already up the road and gone.
Yeah, look at SJP and Jason as well. We've got the 3 VWs at the front now. Obviously Steve F1 hasn't pitted yet, but they've done well to put a gap between them there, and you know, it'll be a struggle for Tyler to try and catch them back up as Conrad goes down the inside of Fluffy. Just a little tap there, and Connor should let him back through, yeah.
Interesting as well. So Demon R was ahead of SGP, but he's now way down the order. I'm thinking he may have made his second pit stop as SRI is trying to make a move on Rich. Subaru on Subaru up the corkscrew. This is where SRI kind of needs to not be aggressive, but needs to just get on with it, get the move done. Because if he doesn't, Tyler's going to be on his arse straight away. Because there he is. So yeah, if SRI doesn't make the move, he's going to come under a lot of pressure. And Tyler's going to be bringing along a few guys to the party. Tyler's going around the outside. He is. Oh my goodness me, what a move.
Yeah, look at that. He's straight past, and he struggled to do that for the majority of the race before the pit stops, and he's just done it round the outside there and made it look easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitch and Fluffy then side by side. I think Fluffy may still have another pit stop to do. Mitch has gone for the one stop. We've got Jimmy in there who pitted not too long ago. Bunsell going defensive. Gary going deep. This could end up compromising a couple of the guys here as they get pinched into that second part. Yeah, a bit of contact between Fluffy and Gary. Jimmy up the inside. Jimmy loves going up the inside into this corner. We'll see if he's going to dip a wheel and spin it. Fluffy is. Oh no.
He'll dip all four wheels there.
Yeah, he's got away with it though. Rich Blues has pitted as well, by the way. Twilight slipping past Bunsell there. There's so much happening at the moment. Conrad trying to make a move on Gary. He kind of needs to as well, because he's got an opportunity of catching Mitch here. As Steve F1 is now into the pits. He's gone 23.5 minutes and his stint has been absolutely perfect. Looking at those lap times, and for him, I think he's going to benefit from the other guys battling. Oh, Gary going a little bit wide. Yeah, battling. Now I don't think they're going to get that much of an undercut on him.
No, he had a one hell of a gap, as we see Jimmy just going off the circuit there, as we've got Twilight looking at both the Subarus now.
No, that he is, but I think Wiser there. Oh, Jimmy! Oh no, got dipped a wheel, got a tank slapper, gave Gary a door bashing, and then kept the position. Jason into the lead then with Steve F1 pitting. So this is interesting. Jason, he's on a 2-stop, now leading the race. SGP, he's on a 2-stop, now leading the race. Tyler, he's on the 1-stop, he's in 3rd place. Where's Steve F1? No, Tyler's 4th, so Steve F1 must have just exited the pits. Yes, he has. He's going around turn 2 now. Yeah, there he is. So there's a bit of a gap between Steve F1 and Tyler, but it's not a massive gap.
No, as we, I think Steve F1's in a really good position now, but I think Tyler's gained a bit of track time there, and I think it's going to be close, because Tyler will have to push now, and he'll have to be careful of Jason and SGP of where they come out on this second stop.
That he will. Or Demon R get a little bit sideways behind Jimmy, and as I mentioned, Demon R I think has made his second pit stop. Bit of an odd strategy, pitted early and then pitted at the 20 minutes. I'm guessing it's just got fuel to the end. He's trying to go around the outside of Jimmy, gets into Gary's slipstream. Jimmy's all out of shape there, may have dirty tyres. Fluffy closing in as well, as long with Bottle as Demon R dips a wheel. Oh, he'll be looking to save that. Oh, he's definitely not saved Fluffy, that's
yeah, that was just unlucky there. He got saved a little bit from Jimmy, and then Fluffy just thought, I'm just going to put you around anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting. Oh, big contact between Jimmy and Gary there.
Ructions in the Subaru ranks there.
That there is. I've got to admit, I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen up at the front here with Jason SGP, because when they pit for their, with Bunsell going into the pits, when they pit for their second stop, the pit stops are quite long here, but they're not going to need to put a lot of fuel in as Jimmy and Gary still side by side. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Steve F1 doesn't need to do anything really other than stay on the tarmac at the moment, because he's got the pace to slowly catch them up, and they're going to have to push to catch him later. Jimmy still holding Gary off. Conrad sitting in 10th place at the moment, so I think after the pit stops it's not quite worked out for Conrad.
Well, Conrad actually made another pit stop after underfueling the cart at the end, and he realised that a lap later. So he made another pit stop, as we were just talking about cars underfueling. Conrad, he screwed his own race over, I think so, but still plenty of time to gain positions.
Well, that's the thing, he spotted it straight away and pitted straight away, probably the best thing to do, because you take the hit and then use the boost to try and catch up. Jimmy and Gary still going at it as they go through the left-hander before the corkscrew. Where's Jimmy gone? Oh, he's into the barrier and he's now a ghost. He's dead.
Yeah.
Jason in the pits.
Jason Pitts, 7% left, so I don't think he fueled that much. I was expecting him to pit around the 30-minute mark, maybe he's do another couple of laps, but yeah, it's not going to be a long pit stop, I don't think, Dave.
No, I think you're actually right there. I mean, I'm thinking that when he pitted earlier, he's put in a certain amount of fuel to get him so far into the race. So he's running on as little amount of fuel as possible. Steve F1 then closing in now on SGP, and as I mentioned, SGP still got another pit stop to do, because I don't think there's any way. Well, could he get to the end? I mean, we saw Steve F1 do 23.5 minutes. When did SGP pit? Oh, Tyler, bit twitchy there. I think SGP pitted about 13, 14 minutes gone. 26 minutes? No.
Yes. So, well, you know, would you be able to, Dave, with a bit of fuel saving, maybe turning the engine down for a couple of laps, or is he worth just coming in and just using a free pit stop to try and secure a second place?
You know what? I'll mention something in a moment as Fluffy's closing in on the back of Jimmy and Demonar closing in on the back of him as well. Saw Demonar try and make a move around the outside of a few cars in this corner earlier. It worked okay until this corner as Jimmy and Gary are going side by side. Jimmy and Gary have been having a right good battle. Oh, bit of contact between the two of them though, and Demonar slips through. Fluffy may get through as well. Yes, he does. So Jimmy and Gary will continue their fight, but they've just been overtaken by two cars. I've got to say, I don't mind a bit of door banging. Sometimes it just happens. Oh, Fluffy's all out of shape. Jimmy and Gary retake one of their places, but I've got to say, those two have been having a battle now for a few laps. I've got to enjoy it. Okay, we're looking again at SGP. Obviously, we don't know how much fuel he's got on board. Looking at his lap times, though, his lap times have not been too bad, but they're definitely off the pace of Steve F1, so I think he might be fuel saving, right? And I'll tell you why. When you pit here, by the time you come to a stop, it's 20 seconds from when you entered the pits. If SGP pits now, he's coming out in a battle. If he can save fuel and carry on and take second place, that will be an absolute victory considering where he was before and after he pitted. But if he pits now and he's in the pack and he can't get back to second place, that's an opportunity lost. Right now, he's got an opportunity for A, winning the race, or B, at least coming second and continuing the fight to the next round, the final round. As Demonar is attacking Twilight into the left-hander around the outside, he's going to go.
Yeah, we've just got a few cars battling now as we approach the last 10 minutes. But yeah, I know what you're saying about SGP. I think he will take second place as a win. You know, he lost a lot of positions on that first lap, and considering the gap he had to Steve F1, I think he's done really well to claw that back.
Conrad making the move on Twilight into the corkscrew. It's a lovely move there. I don't know why we just don't look at Demonar. It's a nice livery and all, but yeah, Conrad got the overtake done. Jimmy and Gary, no surprise, they're still fighting. Twilight, he'll be looking in his rearview mirror and thinking, oh god, leave it alone. Jimmy's dropped off a bit actually, and Gary's got a decent run on Twilight, and Twilight's got a decent run on Connor into the final corner. Is he going to chuck it up the inside? Gary is. Ooh.
Oh, just had a little look, and it's maybe put Twilight off there as we've got the three Subarus find themselves together again.
That they do, and oh yeah, Twilight's going to get hung out to dry here. Conrad goes to cover the inside. Jimmy's kind of boxed in. Twilight's boxed out. Gary's got nowhere to go, and here comes Hay, and thinks better of it. Rich around the outside. Oh, I've got to say, he's good, he's excited. Someone's got to crash, surely. Oh, that's risky from Rich, chucking it up the inside there. Well, it wasn't really a chuck, it was a slide.
Yeah, that's one thing you can guarantee from here. He will stick his nut. Oh, I was going to say will not have many incidents, but he nearly took Gary out well and truly there.
That he did. Rich, I mean, the move that Rich did though, it's one of those that it's a big risk. As we have another look at SGP and look at his lap times, yeah, I think he's running to a lap time delta. You know, I think he's going right. I want to hit 134s, or not necessarily a lap time delta, a fuel percentage usage per lap delta. Doesn't matter what the lap time is, he'll probably realises he's got to use, say, 7% of fuel a lap, and that's his target.
Yeah, do you think maybe using a gear higher in a couple of corners as well?
He'll probably be using the gear higher absolutely everywhere if possible. What he will be doing, because this is something I know a lot of people sort of can't quite get their head around, always Gary having a look at the side of Rich. Rich has absolutely none of it. Jimmy, he's going to get caught by Rich as Gary's dipped a wheel wide. One thing that many people struggle to get their head around is to save fuel, you're better off keeping it in engine mode 1 and doing lots of short shifting and lifting and coasting than you are turning the engine down, because what you tend to find is you turn the engine down and then push harder and burn more fuel.
Yeah, Rich is going to have a look down the inside of Conrad now. Conrad turns in, bit of a tap there.
Well, it's the move that Rich tried on the previous lap and got away with it. Connor's definitely not got away with it that time. I think with that one, I'd be tempted with Rich to be thinking I might need to let him back through on that one, because it's, like I said, it's a risky overtake. It's one of those though where if you're going to go for it, there's a risk that the person's going to turn in on you, because the fastest way through the corner is not that inside line as Fluffy slips past Rich. Gary on the curb and attacks the side of Jimmy.
Gary and Jimmy touching each other? Has that happened this race?
No, I don't think so. Interestingly though, Steve F1 is now all over the back of SGP, and I don't think there's going to be anything that SGP can do about it. I don't know if Steve F1 is going to know what SGP's fuel situation is though, so I don't think he's going to want to wait. I think he's going to want to just get the move done if he can, and then see what happens. As SGP runs a little bit deep as well. I mean, it's possible as well that SGP may not have taken tyres when he pitted. I'd be surprised if that's the case though, because the VW burns them up here.
Yeah, SGP is not going to make it easy for Steve F1. Even if they're on, different strategies, it's still a fight for position on track. There's only a couple of points, like you were saying, Dave, between them, and neither one of them's going to want to give each other a momentum going into the last round.
Exactly. But I've got to say though, I mean, SGP will defend it where he needs to, where he can, but even if SGP finishes second in this race, as Steve, this is it, he's got the run up the hill, and I mean, if SGP is fuel saving, which he's got to be, that's where it's going to hurt him the most. So Steve F1 retakes the lead of the race. But I was going to say, if you're Steve F1, you'd be thinking at the end of this race, well, hang on a minute, he was so far back and he's managed to be this close to me at the end, having pitted after 14 minutes. That's going to play on his mind, because that's a bloody long stint with incredible pace. And this is the thing, Steve F1's pace has been phenomenal, but SGP's pace has been just as consistent to do the job on the fuel that he's got.
Yeah, I think SGP's turned the engine up now. He's thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a go.
Yeah, he might as well, as long as he doesn't lose out any positions. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to see these two ever coming together in the championship be affected in that way. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, maybe SGP realises now that he's behind Steve F1, if he can sit there, he can perhaps save fuel while keeping up pace with Steve F1. Rick Blues now closing in on the back of Demon R as Conrad closing in on Rich. Rich is going deep, is he? No, Connor is.
That's a deep line. He's going to get the run out, but still, look at the run the Subaru got out of there as well. Connor took a really wide line and still manages to. Oh, as he goes wide as well, he followed Fluffy in there.
That's one thing you definitely don't want to do. Never follow Fluffy. It'll only end in disaster. Or tell you what though, Rich has had an error somewhere as well, because Gary's got a run on him. Connor actually getting back on the track is he's still there, but may have dirty tyres now, as we are now into that 4 minutes of the race as Connor gets big, twitchy, as now it's going to get a little bit interesting. I'm just trying to have a look at the track map. SGP is still close to the back of Steve F1.
Yeah, we've got this battle behind as well. We've still got Twilight in there. Is that Jimmy in the back as well? He seems to have lost a few positions. Gary's gone off there. Conrad maybe Rich has gone off as well.
I think Rich has spun it. Maybe Rich spun it at the bottom of the corner, trying to avoid Gary. I don't know, but Connor has managed to get ahead of Gary now. As Twilight's going to try and sweep around the outside of Gary as well. Tiny little bit of contact. Twilight will survive that though. Can he get late on the brakes? Difficult to do when you've just had a little journey across the gravel. The Subaru's going to get a decent exit here. As we've got Toyota, hunted by Subaru, Alpha and Subaru.
Yeah, we don't see many of the VWs at this stage in the race this far behind us. Gary just tries a different line through there, and just Twilight's just okay. Where did he come from?
Yeah, Twilight was a bit unlucky there. I think Rich has had a dodgy exit. Sorry, Jimmy and Rich have had a dodgy exit out of the corner. Again, I must admit. Okay, yeah, I was going to say Gary should really be letting Twilight through there, and he has done. So yeah, rightly so. In SGP, yeah, I think he's realised now that he can't quite keep up with Steve F1, not with the fuel that he has got. I mean, looking at the lap times, lost a bit of time when Steve F1 overtook him, but yeah, I think he's now going to be in that situation of, yeah, second place is a victory. The fight will continue on to the last round, with 5 points between them.
Yeah, if you look at the gap between SGP and Tyler now as well, you think all that time that SGP's gained on where he was at the start, he's done extremely well.
Yeah, definitely. Demon R sitting in 7th place with Conrad all over his gearbox. Twilight there as well. Twilight's not there as well because he's just dipped a wheel on the grass, and Hay trying to make the move on Twilight. I think Demon R's just dipped a wheel as well. Hay has not managed to get through. Gary now attacking. Conrad having a look at making the move on Demon R. Can he get the switch back? No, not on this occasion. Gary though got another decent run. I feel for Twilight here. He's about to get mugged by an Alpha and 2 Subarus.
Yeah, just saw Rich having a look down the inside of Hay and Twilight there. Gary's just having another. He's just exploring the lines, isn't he, Gary? Just having a different look at which line works for him in the first corner, and obviously that one didn't quite work as well. But the 3 Subarus together again.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. Gary's just enjoying himself out there at the moment as Jason has closed in on Mitch. We've not seen either of these two for a while, so I'm guessing that this gap has only recently come down. And to be fair, these two had a fantastic battle at the Red Bull Ring last time out with, who was it? I think Jason came out on top in that battle, so it'll be interesting to see if Mitch can do anything about it. You know what? Someone else we've not seen for a while is Tyler and SRI. Tyler is currently clear 3rd place at the moment. SRI is there, look, he's up the road. So we know how good Mitch and Jason can be, and SRI is still ahead of them. But you know what though, Connor? I nearly missed it. There's only 20 seconds left of the race.
Yeah, so it's going to be close for, I think, the first 4, maybe first 6 might get another lap in, but these guys behind.
Oh, Connor's making a run. Connor's making a run. Right, clip the sausage.
That's a big moment.
It absolutely is. You know what? SRI, is he going to make the line? He's not going to make the line. So SRI is going to be the first of the finishers. It's going to be 4th place for him. Absolutely fantastic. Mitch does win that battle over Jason. 5th and 6th to them. All Rich and Hay side by side. Drag race up to the line. And Hay manages to steal it. Gary steals it from Fluffy as well. Twilight can't do much about it. Connor, he's still there in the barrier. Steve F1 though, SGP and Tyler have the extra lap to do. I've got to say, that's been one hell of a race, and unless Steve F1 bins it now, he's had a phenomenal drive.
Yeah, does Steve F1 do a Ken Miles and escort them across the line, the 3 VWs, or is he's just going to go for it, isn't he?
You must have Sky, because that film was only recently become available on Sky, because I watched it the other day.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, otherwise, I'd have no idea who Ken Miles is. Brilliant film, though. Make sure you watch it, folks.
I don't know who Christian Bale is.
No, neither do I. Or Matt Damon.
Steve F1 comes out the last corner, take a great victory as we've got SGP, follows them up. Great race from SGP as well.
Yeah, how SGP managed to go that long on one tank of fuel, I've no idea, and I think people will look at the lap times he was doing as well. Yeah, phenomenal. Tyler absolutely flying throughout the race. Brilliant race from him, taking that 3rd place and handbrakes it across the line. I've got to say, absolutely brilliant. As always, a race packed full of action and a few incidents of drama. But yeah, I mean, as far as the championship fight goes, holy cow, one race to go, 5 points between them. And I mean, you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek or not, but about the VWs will be strong at Spa. Interestingly, I don't know if they will be, right? And the reason I say this is the VWs are going to struggle in a couple of key corners. Turn 1, they're going to struggle to get the power down. Eau Rouge, they're going to struggle to steer, but they've got the straight line speed. However, the Kemmel Straight is so long that everybody else will be able to slipstream them and either keep up or attack. So that's where the VW will be strong. But the VW won't be strong in that middle sector. Pouhon, it struggles. And Blanchimont, it can't take it flat out. So even though it's got the straight line speed, there's a few key corners where it could struggle. Now, we know what Steve F1 and SGP are like. They know there's a championship on the line. They're going to get plenty of practice in. They're going to do everything they can to try and make sure they win that race. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Steve F1 and SGP somewhere in that top 1, 2 or 3. But
yeah,
there is a chance that other cars at that track are going to be considerably stronger. The Toyota is going to be twitchy as hell, but it is actually good around there. The Subaru, this is a track where someone like SRI, if he can get into the lead and get down the Kemmel Straight in the lead, he's got a chance, as long as he doesn't make a mistake. But you hinted earlier about a reserve driver, Ricky, and as far as I know, Ricky is going to be getting a drive next week because Twilight isn't able to race next week. So Ricky, I believe, is if he's not been told already, he should have been told soon. There's the space available for him to race next week. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, because as a reserve driver you can pick any car. When you become a full-time driver you can't. So as a reserve driver, I would guess what car is picked?
Subaru,
yeah. Now that could create one hell of an interesting situation, because if you're Ricky and you get into that race and you're leading that race, some people may think, oh, this isn't quite right, maybe I shouldn't be here doing this. No, if you're in that position to win it, go and win it. You do what you. I mean, I'm not saying that is going to be what happens, but we had it with Diesel a couple of championships ago where he could easily have gone, you know what, SGP, you're in the championship fight, I'm going to let you past. He didn't do that. He basically said, well, if you want to go past me, you're going to have to overtake me. And it makes for great racing and the drama and the story, and that's what racing is about. So for Ricky, I would like to see him show what he's capable of without pissing people off or wiping them out. Or if you do wipe them out, make sure you wait for them. But someone like Ricky or SRI may have a chance around that track.
Yeah, it would be nice to see someone other than a VW win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I mean,
even if it is, you know, sorry to cut across you, but even if it is the last race of the championship.
Yeah. Well, D&R has won a race in every championship so far. Okay, last championship's last race at Laguna Seca was a bit controversial because even though he took the win, he did get a penalty for knocking Steve F1 off the track. This could be the first championship without the victory, so I know he's putting in all the effort he can to make Spa that chance of a win. But again, it's one of those. I mean, from SGP's perspective, SGP needs at minimum.
Grace, don't shout, I can't speak.
I can still hear you, Connor. Don't worry. Your mute button doesn't work properly. So what I was going to say, SGP, right? Let's say SGP's leading the race. He needs somebody else to be in second place. If Steve F1's in second place, Steve F1 wins. So SGP needs other people to be in that position. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because SGP may need to play some games and try and keep a pack close, or he does what he did in the Zanassi in a couple of championships and basically says, right, my objective is to win the race. Or there was another championship, he needed to win the race. He needed other things to go his way, but the main thing he needed was for him to win the race. If he focuses on that and goes and wins the race, and Steve F1 finishes close enough in the points to win the championship, then there's nothing else that SGP could do. You say, okay, fair enough, well played, well done. But if other people get involved in it, oh my goodness, that raises the tension, because then you've got you can have Steve F1 thinking, oh, I don't want to lose it like this, and maybe he tries doing something a little bit risky, or maybe somebody else gets in the dramas. The potential for drama is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think we saw what happened to SGP in the first stint of that race, so if that happens again, you know, he's got a couple of Subarus in front of him, it'll be hard for him to get back up there. But, you know, we thought that was going to be the case when he was battling down. You know, he had a couple of off-track moments, but he's just created a strategy that just worked, and it just clawed him 20 seconds out of nowhere. So yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one, but I think it'll be, in my opinion, I think it'll be a predictable podium.
Yeah, I think we'll see both of them up there somewhere. I just don't know how it's going to go. But yeah, I mean, we talked earlier on about SGP's strategy in the race, and should he have saved the fuel or not? By the end, you go, yeah, he'd done the right thing, because Demon R was ahead of him on a two-stop strategy and ended up 8th, 7th, something like that. In the pack. So yeah, I mean, SGP, what he's done there, yeah, really, really good. But yeah, I've got to say, fantastic. I mean, Gary and Jimmy, I don't know if they know each other, but they definitely traded paint in that race, that's for certain.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to swap liveries for the last two races, isn't it?
Yeah.
Both in Subarus.
Yeah. Well, I reckon Gary was driving around shouting, "I want to die in my sleep like my grandfather," not screaming and yelling like the passengers in his car.
Yeah, he was exploring all sorts of lines into turn one, wasn't he?
He definitely was. Okay, right. In a moment, we'll go and check out the what that has done to. Well, we'll check out the confirmations and the championship standings. I just want to say, Connor, thank you very much for joining me on commentary again.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. I hope I'm there for the last one, or, you know, it's going to be an interesting race to watch, and I can't wait to see who wins it.
It's definitely going to be interesting. And one final piece of advice from an old wise man who goes to bed with an itchy butt wakes up with stinky finger. Right, let's check out the confirmations and the championship standings, and we're done. Here we go then, confirmation of race 8 from Laguna, Seca, and it would appear no penalties, so that's absolutely fantastic. Steve F1 confirmed as the race winner, maximum points 20 in the bag for him, and finishes ahead of SGP, who only drops the 3 points to Steve F1. Fantastic result for him, really, in the end. Tyler finishes in third, a great result for him, and he was ahead of SRI in fourth. Mitch and Jason continued their battle, but it was for 5th and 6th place, and then we had Demon R in 7th. We saw Hay just pit Rich to the finish line for 8th place, Rich finishing in 9th. Jimmy on the camera a lot today, in plenty of action, finished in 10th place, just ahead of former Gary in 11th. Fluffy, he's had a tough season, and it was a tough race for him as well. 12th place for him, as Twilight, I don't think he likes this place, finished in 13th place. Bunsell did well, I think, to actually finish in 14th, although he has said he really doesn't like this track. And Conrad, we saw him have the accident late on, he actually didn't get to the finish line either, so unfortunately it is a DNF for Conrad. That'd be very frustrating for him. Okay, let's see what that's done for the driver's standings then, and Steve F1 leads the way, 144 points. He's now got a 5-point gap to SGP in 2nd place. We've then got a massive gap down to Demon R in 3rd, and then only 8 points back to Tyler in 4th. Jason sits in 5th on 78 points now, and SRI in 6th on 73. Dave the Harper Mitch tied in 7th place on 50 points, so a battle for position to be had there. And Twilight and Formula Gary tied in 9th, and a battle should happen there, but unfortunately Twilight can't make the next race, so Gary has an opportunity there, both on 44 points. Rich Blue sits in 11th on 41 points, while Hay is in 12th on 36, Jimmy's in 13th on 31, and then Conrad and Fluffy tied 14th on 28 points, and Bunshaw rounds out the drivers on 21 points. Okay, well there we go, that's all the action from Laguna Seca. It's been absolutely fantastic race, plenty of action, plenty of drama, and the championship still to be decided, and it will be decided at Spa. So make sure you join us for all of the action, all of the drama, and find out who will be crowned the new two-time champion between Steve F1 and SGP. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon.